Hello and welcome. This is Christina Hills from the Website Creation Workshop, and welcome to this special call on the design fundamentals from the Website Creation Workshop, your website design, layout, and sidebars. And what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be talking about how to easily create beautiful websites without being a designer using WordPress. And what we're going to do today is go through this PDF handout. Now, I mailed out the PDF handout, the link to the page that has the PDF handout, and I will go here right now. And there's a link right here. You can click to download that. But if you can't, or that's a little awkward for you, or you can't find it, don't worry. Just stay focused here on what we're doing, and you will be able to get that handout later. That handout is 28 pages, but don't let that scare you because most of them are pictures. I like to teach with pictures. And so if you want to print it, great. If you don't want to print it, you don't have to. So I am just going to step through this, and I will be taking questions at the end of the call. All right, so I'm going to turn to the next page. There's a table of contents page. So basically, I'm going to be going over your website design, layout and sidebars, the difference between pages versus posts. I'm going to talk about the blog part of WordPress. I'm going to talk about your WordPress theme design. Then I'm going to go into the difference between a theme and a template. I'll walk you through a header graphic versus an image in the page or post versus an image in the sidebar, how to find a theme, and then how to take a next step. Let me click down. All right, so we are here, part 1 on page 3 of the handout, your website design, layout, and sidebars. So I'm looking at figure 1 on page 3. You can see it here on my screen. And this is the basic layout of a WordPress website. And what you see on a WordPress website, and why I'm teaching this is I want you to have a good understanding of website design so that when you go to build your own site, you'll have more educated eyes. So we have here at the top, and I wonder if I can scroll in a little bit on this image. This is from one of my students who's a coach who took my program, the Website Creation Workshop. And here's her site. At the top, this area in the top, you can sort of see my cursor. This is the header area. Underneath that, this is the navigation. So it's referred to as navigation or menu. Then on the center is the content, and on the right side are the sidebars. And you don't see this here in my example, but at the bottom there would be a footer. So you've got header, footer, navigation menus, content, sidebars. That's the basic structure of a WordPress site. So moving to page 4 now, let's talk about sidebars. So sidebars are also known as widgets. We're looking at figure 2 of the handout. And here you see I've circled some sidebar widgets. So this screenshot, figure 2, this screenshot, and if you've just joined us, because I know some folks came on a little bit late, if you just joined us, we are going over the handout, and if you don't have it in front of you, don't worry, just watch the screen and you can get that later. This figure is of a sample WordPress website. This is what I refer to as a student project, and the way I teach WordPress is everybody in my program gets a student project to practice on before you build your actual site. And the sidebars are typically on the side, but sometimes you can have sidebars in the header area. This is Maritza Parra. She was one of my students, and here she has a sidebar in the header area. So they're referred to as sidebar widgets or header widgets, and they are items, things. I don't have a really good word besides things that you put in your sidebar, and you can mix and match whatever you want to have. Here she's got one in her header, and then she's got a graphic here as seen on Oprah. So that is the sidebar. Now here is a screenshot from my site, website creationworkshop.com/blog. And here's my sidebar, and what do I have on it? I have a connect with me on social media buttons. I have a graphic for the sample lesson, and that's actually what we're going through right now, and an opt-in box. So I have an opt-in box on my sidebar. Now we're looking at page 5, figure 4, and you'll notice in my site I don't have header widgets. I just have a header graphic. I have navigation. I have the content here. It's a little hard to see my cursor. I have the content in the center, and then I have my sidebar and sidebar items. So sidebar widgets can be anywhere on your site. They're typically on the right, but with WordPress you can move that around. Right now I'm teaching you the terminology. So let's move on to the next page and talk about different layouts. And I hope I'm not going too fast. Kathy, you let me know if I am going too fast or not. And again, I will be taking questions at the end. And let me zoom out of this a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. All right. When you decide you're going to build a WordPress website, there are different layouts that you can have. And these are my wireframe layouts. Now there's more than this, but these are just sort of the obvious ones. You have a header area, you have pages, you have content, and then sidebar widgets. You can also have the sidebar on the left side, right? So it doesn't have to be on the right side, it could be on the left side. Or you can have it on the left and the right side, or you can have no sidebars. So as you're looking around the internet and seeing sites, look and guess, okay, what kind of layout do they have? So this one has top header, navigation, content in the center, right sidebar. And same thing here with Maritza Para, top navigation, menu, content in the center, sidebar. That's a typical look. But sometimes, and I'll show some examples, sites don't have that layout, but that's the typical layout. So here is an example of one of my students, and here is a slightly more complicated sidebar. You have the header at the top. Hopefully you can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit. You have the header, navigation, content, and then this sidebar is much wider, and it has a section at the top that spans 2 columns. Then there's 2 columns and a section at the bottom. Okay, so, and then there's also widget, which I don't have a footer widget area, which I don't have an example of. But this is another kind of layout. So why am I showing this to you? I want to train your eye so when you're looking around the internet and you see sites you like, you can kind of deconstruct it in your mind, and it helps you formulate what would you like for your website. All right, let's turn to the next page, and I'm going to move on to part 2 now, the difference between pages versus posts. And again, I will be answering questions at the end of this call. All right, so what is a page? This is something, pages versus posts, this is something that often confuses people. And part of why you need to know the difference between pages versus posts and why I'm including this in a call about design and WordPress is you need to understand how pages versus posts function so that when you go to pick your theme design, you'll already have in your brain what's important to you for the function of how pages versus posts look. At the end, when you land on a web page, it all looks like a page, but a post acts a little different. All right, so we're looking at you're on page 8, part 2, and we're looking at figure number 11. So I'm on my WordPress About Us page, and a WordPress page is referred to as a static page. It's content that you don't normally change, like an About Us or a Contact Us or an FAQ. Now, pages can have different templates and different layouts, but generally what a page is something where the content doesn't change. Now, of course, and here's the wonderful thing about WordPress, you can always update and add to it, but it's considered a static page. And we're on now page 9 of the handout, and figure 12 is a WordPress site, and that is a page, that's the home page, that's from the Grass Valley Nutcracker. And in this you can see that the menu is on the left side. And then figure 13, that is a squeeze page or an opt-in page, right? And so that's a little bit different from a typical WordPress site because there's no menu navigation at the top. So these are pages. And here is a sales letter page. And excuse me. And my course, the Website Creation Workshop, has a sales letter similar to this. We'll be opening in about less than 2 weeks on March 4th. So if you decide you want to train with me in my coaching program, that will be the link to go to, but it's not ready yet. So that's figure 14. This is a page, has no menus, no navigation. It's called a sales letter page. All right, let's turn to now page 11. Page 11, what is a post? And once I explain what a post is, the page concept comes a little bit more into view. Figure 15, this is a screenshot of my blog, and it's an older screenshot from what my blog looks like now. And I left that in there to kind of give you the contrast and to talk about the great thing about WordPress is you can change your design. And some people change their designs a lot, and then others, you know, I had this design for many years, and now I've switched to the Pro theme, and I've got more examples of that. All right, so what is a post? A post is the blog part of your site. It has a date associated with it and an author. So your blog posts are your news, your blog, your diary, your tips, and this is what people think of as the dynamic part of WordPress. You're posting to your blog, it's something that's coming out often like your newsletter. Ultimately, anything that's on a website, on a URL in a browser is a page, but the concept of a post versus a page in WordPress are two different things. So the post is the diary. It comes out on a regular basis. This is why the search engines love WordPress, because you tend to update content often when you post. And you can use the expression posting to your blog if you like to think of it as your blog, or you can call it posting your newsletter. And here, let me go back. You know, you could call it a blog, newsletter, recent news, diary, events, whatever makes sense to you. All right, I'm moving on to part 3 now. So what is the blog part? Right, so the blog part, what is the blog part of WordPress? Let me shrink this down just a little bit. Hopefully that's not too small on your screen. We're at part 3, page 12, and I'm calling out the names of the pages in case people are listening on their telephone only and not in front of a computer. So page 12, part 3, figure 16. So the blog is the collection of the posts, right? So these are the blog posts, and I've circled them, from Brenda Rivas, and this is an old screenshot of her site from a few years ago. And I've been teaching WordPress for 5 years, so some of my students, I've got older screenshots. So forget your goals, that's one blog post. Honey, I'm having a business, and 6 steps to create an instant shift. These are individual blog posts, but the collection is the blog. Oops, went ahead a little too fast. I think I should use my handy dandy. Okay, so let's go to the next page. So if you have a lot of blog posts and you want to fit a lot of them, more than one, on your page that has all your blog posts, you can use a technique called the more tag. So here I did a blog post, answers to the top 53 questions on WordPress, and it was very long. So I inserted a read more tag or read more link. I'm looking at figure 17, we're on page 13. So then that way, when a person comes to my site and they see this, they can click the read more link, and then they can see the full post. All right, so this is a technique that you would do if you have a very long post, but you want, when people come to your site, not just to see that one long post, but they want to see that you've got a lot of articles, just like Brenda did. You know, when you come to her site, you see a lot of articles, and she's got these tiny little, let me zoom in again. She's got these tiny little more, read the rest of the article, read the rest of the article. So this is something you want to think about on when you put together your site, that you can have this read more link so that people can then click and get to the entire article. That's figure 18. All right, I want to move along. I want to kind of keep this moving, and then I'll take some polls and answer questions once I get through this. We are now on part 4, your WordPress theme design. So I'm going to talk about the theme. So WordPress themes, that is the look and feel of your website. It is your color scheme and the framework within where your site lives. The theme sets the tone of your website for visitors. So we can see here, this is the figure 19, and we are on page 15. I'm looking at figure 19. This is the 2010 theme design, and yes, it came out in 2010, and I show it because this is the design I like to use to teach on. And yes, I know we're in 2014, but I'm telling you the 2010 theme is the best one to use when you learn WordPress, and this is what we install. Every student who takes my program gets a student project, and we install that. So this is how it looks out of the box when WordPress is first installed. And then here are 2 of my students, and here's one of my sites, Lisa Michaels. She turned it into her own look and feel. And she is an intuitive coach, kind of a law of attraction intuitive coach. And here is another one of my students, and her name has slipped my mind. She is also a coach. So look how these 2 different sites give you a different feel. They evoke kind of a different emotion. So this is what happens in the process of building your website with WordPress is you go from plain kind of black and white into your own look. And figure 21, that's a screenshot from a live event I did, and that is, again, no menu navigation, no sidebars. All right, let me move to the next page, page 16. So some themes have a fixed home page design. So that means, let me just back up for a second. So, and you can see it pretty well here. So you've got the content in the center and sidebars and header and menu. But these two sites, and let me zoom in a little bit, have a fixed home page design, so it doesn't fall in to that formula, this figure 23, and we are on page 16. We are on page 16, figure 23, Denton Classical. This is an educational site for an alternative type of school. And notice how it has these different columns, and it has a sidebar and an image at the top, menus up above, and you can select different places to go. That's figure 23. And then figure 24, Creative Dream Companion, discover the art of expressing your heart. Again, we have a menu up at the top, kind of as part of the header, and then there are these three different places to go here and these three different places to go here. So instead of landing on all the content, you kind of have different visual items to attract you, to take you to different places. So some themes have these fixed home page designs. So you want to just keep that in mind. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more. We are on page 17, and we are looking at figure 25. This is one of my favorite themes. This is the Prose theme, and you can find that at theprosetheme.com. I'll put that in the chat window in a little bit. Let me zoom out just a tad. So this is a theme not customized. This is the demo theme. And what I teach people is when you're building WordPress, first of all, you want to start out with the simple design so you can get the foundation. That's what we do in my program. And then once you have your foundation of WordPress, you want to look for a theme and start working with your theme. But know that themes can have very different looks. So figure 25 is the theme demo of the Prose theme, and you can find that at theprosetheme.com. And that is the theme that I am using on my blog. And I think I can just go over here to my blog. Let's see if I don't have that up. websitecreationworkshop.com/blog. So I'll just have this up here. So note that it is, hang on, let me get my PDF back. It's a very different look than this. Let me go down. Here are two other of my students, Kathy Goodwin. So notice on Kathy's site, it does look like this theme demo. So she's taken this theme and she has added some customization, but it still looks relatively similar to the theme demo versus my site. I've changed the colors of the navigation so it looks a little different. And then this other site, hang on, Teaspoon of Spice, looks really different. So know that you can buy a theme, and let me zoom out just a little bit. You can buy a theme and then change it and have it look really different. So it doesn't have to look like everybody else's. I mean, on first glance, you would never guess that this is the same theme design as this. Now, this one has had a lot more customization than this one has, but it comes back to this concept that I like to talk about, which is WordPress growing with you. And as you grow in your understanding, as your business grows, you can further and further tweak your site to look like your own. So let me just bring up, so here's mine. Let me zoom this out. I'm doing a control minus to zoom out, and I'll go to Kathy Goodwin Marketing. I just want to bring these up side by side. So these two are the same theme. They're similar in that the content is in the center and we have a sidebar, but she put her menu at the top. I have my menu underneath the header. She did not put any coloring into her menus, and but I did. I have a color scheme here, purple and gold. So let me get back to my, and I'm sure there's going to be some questions, but I want to keep on going to, again, showing you how you can buy one theme and build lots of sites and none of them have to look the same. All right, so now I'm going to move to part 5, page 19. Part 5, page 19. So I'm teaching you the kind of overall design elements of WordPress. And right now I want to talk about the difference between a theme and a template, because people often get this concept confused. So so you'll have the right jargon, so when you're reading and looking on the internet, or when you're talking to me, if you decide to join me in the website creation workshop, we're all speaking the same language. So the theme is the overall design, right? It's the look and feel. It dictates the colors, fonts, other design elements. But a template is a subset of the theme. And templates generally apply to pages. So the template affects the layout, still sticking within the theme design. So figure 28 is the 2010 theme, and hang on, writing myself a note, is the 2010 theme, and let me go now to the next page. So here is a screenshot from my site. So here's a page with a sidebar, right? And this is my rave reviews from my students, figure 29, and let's move now to figure 30. So my same site, same theme, but this page has no sidebars, right? So right before, we have the standard template with a sidebar, but this one, where I show examples, has no sidebars. So let me just break away for a moment over here. I'll show you where you can find that under Case Studies, WordPress Examples. These are examples of students who've taken my site, and because I wanted to fit a lot onto here, I decided to use a template that has no sidebars. So again, the template is the layout of your page, still staying within the framework of the theme. Right? So hopefully that made sense. Again, I want to keep going. Let's move now to part 6. So part 6 is your header graphic versus an image in your page post versus an image in the sidebar. So this is, again, understanding terminology. So when you go, if you go hire a graphic designer, or if you buy some graphics, you'll know what kind of graphics you're looking for. And I do say hire a graphic designer because although in the website creation workshop, I'm going to teach you lots of techniques so that you don't have to hire a designer, sometimes you might want to. And it's good to know the lingo of what a header graphic is. So let's look at this page. We are on page, I'm just flipping my handout here in front of me. We're on page 22, part 6. We're looking at figure 31. So the header graphics at the top, that's this long, wide thing that spans across your site. Then here in the center, says about Christina Hills. This is an image put into the page or the post. So I've inserted an image, a photo. Actually, I have two in this page. And I also have an image in the sidebar. So although this looks like it's on the right, it is not in the sidebar. So as you're thinking about building your site, or maybe you're converting a non-WordPress site, maybe you want to convert a non-WordPress site to WordPress, keep in mind when you're talking about your header graphic, an image in the content, or image in the sidebar. All right, so that was pretty quick. Now let's move to part 7. Let me take a quick sip. Part 7, finding a theme for your site. So when you build a WordPress site, it comes with some default free themes. And there are other free themes you can get, but I want to start out this section by giving you a beware. Beware of downloading free themes from the internet. Beware of that, because you never know when you download something if it's going to have a virus or not. So use caution. So know where you're downloading from. So in general, if you want a free theme, the place you want to go is to WordPress.org. All right, WordPress.org has a whole collection. Looks like there's 2,321 themes available. Now, what I teach WordPress, the self-hosted WordPress.org. I don't teach WordPress.com. That being said, your domain name can have a .com domain name. You don't have to have a .org name. I'm websitecreationworkshop.com, christinahills.com. You do not have to have a .org name. It's just, is your site self-hosted, where you buy your own web hosting, or is it at WordPress.com? And WordPress.com is a little bit more for hobbyists. The self-hosted WordPress.org is more for professionals because you can install any theme you want and any plugin. And I'm not talking about plugins on today's call. So WordPress.org is a great place to go to look at free themes. Now, I generally recommend that people get a premium theme. You may find a free theme that you love. But when you buy a premium theme, and that just means a theme that you pay for, it comes with support. It tends to be better, more well-coded. It's coming from a business that has a business model that is making money, and they are generally under $100. So although these themes are kind of nice, I recommend them when you're new to WordPress to get comfortable with what themes are and what you might want. But then I tend to recommend people to get a premium theme. They're better coded, they're easier to work with on the back end, there's documentation, there's support for the theme. So that is my recommendation. And I wanted to mention the premium theme companies that I know and am familiar with. Figure 34, we are on page 25, is StudioPress, and my link for them is StudioPressQueen.com is my link for them, and also iThemes and iThemesQueen.com. So there are two companies. Both have solid reputations, well known in the industry, StudioPress and iThemes. Going to the next page, Woo Themes is another one, and you can find them at thebestthemes.com/Woo Themes. That's figure 36. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And also Elegant Themes. Elegant Themes are very beautiful. They take a little more patience setting up on the back end, but they are very beautiful artistic themes. and those are two that I know. And another one of my favorite theme companies is the Ink Themes, thebestthemes.com/Ink Themes, and that's figure 38. Figure 39 is one of my success stories. Her name is Deborah, and she's got a site, Healthy and Fit Woman. And I have in the Website Creation Workshop program, which is opening March 4th, I have a special training on how to build Ink Themes sites. So that is figure 39, page 27, and we are at the end. My course, the Website Creation Workshop, is going to open March 4th, so I don't have details now, but that will be the link that you will go to get registered. I think I'm done. All right, thank you, Kathy. We will get this replay up, and we'll send out a link for where the replay will be. It will include the link to the handout. If you want to connect with me on social media, just click down here and connect with me on social media. If you want to watch this wacky Little Web Riding Hood video, and we're going to send out, there's 3 videos in the series, so we're going to send out an email with the others as well. Know that I am teaching a 12-week coaching program. It is going to start registrations March 4th, so just watch your email for that. All right, thank you, Kathy, and everybody else on my team, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.